I am Anna Seawold, and this is Authentic Parenting, a podcast about personal development in the context of parenting, where I explore how you can find more calm, connection, and joy in parenting through the process of self-discovery and inner growth with a trauma-informed lens. I'm a parent educator, and my mission is to help children by helping parents. The motto of this podcast is raising our children, growing ourselves. Today, an on-air coaching call. I am helping Matthew, a mother of 3 children, ages 10, 7, and 2, with toddler challenges. A busy mom, Matthew finds it frustrating when her toddler throws hard objects, hits his siblings, bangs his head, gets frustrated when he's not getting what he wants, and other toddler behaviors. As well as we talk about the importance of being present, creating consistency in routines, and most importantly, in parental emotion and self-regulation. If you have young children, you may find this episode especially helpful. If you want to do an on-air coaching call, go to authenticparenting.com/coaching and fill out a short application, and I'll be in touch. It's free. There are no prerequisites or further commitments required. If you rather work with me privately, I offer a 10% discount on my coaching services for my listeners. Of course, when we work together, it's a lot deeper and more focused as opposed to the on-air coaching calls. Book a 15-minute free discovery call today on the homepage of my website. Go to authenticparenting.com and click on the yellow button that says book your free 15 minutes phone session, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. I look forward to working with you. And now, please enjoy this on-air coaching call with Matthew. Matthew, welcome to Authentic Parenting.
Hi.
I'm glad you agreed to do an on-air coaching call. You've been a loyal, faithful member of the Authentic Parenting community, a part of everything we do in this community. So what made you decide to do an on-air coaching call?
Well, I guess I wanted to use my voice, and I wanted to speak to you more about Hanu and get on a coaching call with you anyway. So I thought, okay, I've known you for a good while now, so let's just do it.
Let's just do it. Some people may find it useful.
Yeah.
And I am assuming, since you're a loyal listener and member of the community, you're familiar with the on-air coaching episodes, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, I torture people. No, not really. Yeah, some of the coaching episodes go really well. Some of them go completely, detour. Mm-hmm. But I always enjoy them. Yeah. It's a chance for me to connect with my listener one-on-one and hear their, real challenges, stories. It's been really fascinating. And we haven't done an on-air coaching call in a while. I was postponing it, but here we are. So why don't you tell us how many children you have and what are some parenting challenges you're facing currently in this phase of your motherhood?
Sure. So I have 3 boys. I have my 10-year-old and my 7-year-old and my toddler, who just turned 2. So my youngest, I guess, the challenge is that he's a toddler. So whatever comes with that. And I've experienced that with my second and now my last child. So that's the tantrum kind of behavior. Yeah, I didn't experience that with my first son at all. Or I think there's just one episode that I can remember where he was just kind of lost it when we were coming back from the store, and I thought, "Ooh, what's that?" But I managed to nip it in the bud, I think is the right word. But it's just been a different experience with 2 and 3.
So you're an experienced mother. You have 3 boys. You're not a newbie.
Yeah.
I'm sure you experienced plenty of tantrums. So tantrums is one challenge that you're facing. What else?
Like currently I'm seeing like head banging, and so hitting is an issue. And I did go through the, I don't know whether it's the right word, but it's like epitome of throwing hard objects. I think that's reduced. It's the head banging, which I really want to have like a strategy for, and just be like really confident about what I'm doing there. So it doesn't like just have repercussions, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you noticed when
I'm sorry. So he gets like a little noggin on his head. So it's like, it's not good.
Yeah, of course it worries you. Besides being frustrating experience, it worries you for his safety. And yeah. Have you noticed a pattern when he does that? Like when he's tired, when he's frustrated? Have you noticed a pattern? Is it after he gets up from his nap or before his nap?
So it's when he gets frustrated and he's not getting what he wants. So he's definitely got a spirit in him. And so one thing is definitely when he's on the other side of the kitchen gates, yeah, or he displays that kind of behavior when he's not getting his milk quick enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So frustration, tolerating frustration, like waiting for his milk. When you say no to whatever he wants, basically toddler behaviors.
Yeah.
And they're basically toddler, like typical developmental toddler behaviors. Yes. But still, nevertheless, we want to work with him, right, to increase the tolerance window, help him with his frustration, maybe give him, a little, I'm sure he's speaking a little bit or maybe more, right?
Yeah, he is.
No, he's so sweet.
Yeah.
I this, as you know, it's not a secret. Toddlers are my favorite age.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear this. Yeah.
Yes, it's my favorite age, and my neighborhood, everybody knows. I just love everybody's toddlers. I just love how curious they are, how new everything is for them, how they explore the world, just trying to see the world through their eyes and like wow, what are they thinking? What are they perceiving? What's going on? And just trying to connect and communicate with them and heart to heart. I feel like they're just pure presence, and pure consciousness, and just pure everything to me,
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a phenomenal age for me, not for everyone. And I'm sure there are a lot of moms who are having a hard time. I'm not denying that. Of course, it's challenging, right? Because he can't say in a sophisticated way, "Mommy, my need for autonomy is not being met," or "How long is that bloody milk going to take?" Right? He's not going to say those kind of things. And let me ask you a question. Like, how do you, let's start with the head banging, and then we can talk about the tantrums and throwing hard objects and those kind of things. And hopefully I will be helpful in my suggestions in terms of developing skills, right? Toddlerhood is the time where the brain is developing very, very rapidly, right? Like crazy rapidly. The entire architecture, the connections, the neural pathways are being built like so rapidly. from birth, in fact, the brain already has 95% of the neurons, right? The brain cells, 95% of them are present. And by age 4, 85, 90% of the connections are already built. So the major part of brain development, the connections, everything, the architecture happens within the first 4 years. At birth, from birth to age 4, the brain quadruples in size. I mean, just imagine that. And after the age 4 to 25, it grows one more size.
Okay.
It's that slow. So the first 4 years is like the groundwork. It's the foundational work. And the brain is use dependent organ experience. Whatever you expose, whatever you experience, those are the connections that are going to be built in the brain. That's true for positive things. That's true for negative things. If the brain is not experiencing warmth, nurturing, attunement, connection, cooing with the baby, with the toddler, that kind of stuff. If the brain is experiencing neglect, violence, whatever the experiences of that toddler, those are the pathways that are going to be established. So it's a critical age. The brain develops rapidly. They take in so much. They're emotional, right? Their brain is very emotional. They see the world through black and white. And the frontal cortex is still developing. I mean, I have a 13-year-old. It's still developing. There are so many like young adults. It's still developing, right? So expecting mature skills is unrealistic. And so it's our job as parents to view this stage of development as we're teaching them skills. We're teaching them skills. Everything is a skill. That's my approach. If your child is throwing hard objects, he doesn't know, obviously. If he throws this heavy object at mommy, it's going to hurt mommy. He has no clue. Or if he throws it at the window, that window is going to break. He has no understanding, like he hasn't made those connections. Or when they spill milk or anything they do, it's all new to them, right? You just want to have a mind, like an open, curious mind. Why did he do that? Like, what was he exploring? They also have sort of, when they take an interest in something, let's say a lamp, they go and play with that lamp, turn on and off, on and off.
Yeah,
on and off,
he's
like
doing that right now with the light switches, and I've just been letting him. It's like, it's fun, fine, go for it.
He's learning. He's exploring until he discovers whatever he wants to learn about that particular process or object or item in his environment. And that's just a wondrous part, but it could be annoying and inconvenient for parents. But I think one major advice I would give is try to, because you have older kids and a toddler, the environment has to be, you can take care of the environment more better easily than controlling your toddler. That you can control the environment rather than focusing, why did my toddler do this? Why does he keep doing this? Then remove the object, the hard object, or the plant. If he's going for the plant and just taking all the soil out of the plant, you can't get angry or demand that your toddler, quote unquote, behave. You need to remove the plant. So some of the stuff is common sense, adjusting the environment for the toddler, preparing him for success, basically. Also for safety, right? I mean, we put safety gates, like you said, in your kitchen or on a stairwell, stuff like that. But what else can you take a look in your home with fresh eyes and see what could be a potential danger, harm that you can remove, so he can have freedom in exploring his world. That freedom is important. He's going to make messes. He's going to, and that's how he's going to learn. If you are not okay with messes, then I don't know what to say. That's how he's going to learn, that he's going to put his hands in his drink. I remember my daughter would put her chicken into the water and then drink the water. All gross things for us, right? But it's exploration. So I think not seeing all of those things as bad behavior and trying to control or get rid of, rather than seeing it, why is this happening? And being curious and wondrous, seeing it from that perspective, number one. Number two, adjusting the environment so that it's safe for him to explore and learn, and you not getting annoyed with the same activity that he does over and over and over again, because he's learning and mastering skills at this stage very, very rapidly.
So with I definitely went through a period of, I just taken everything away, and I was like, okay, now what? I can only buy soft toys. And then I was like, I could only think of like one soft toy because he wasn't into like cuddly stuff. So I'd like taken everything away, and it was like really boring. It's like there's just nothing to entertain him. Yeah, I'm slowly bringing things back, but I see that still there a little bit. And now I think the behavior's gone more into the head banging is the predominant one. Yeah.
That could be sensory craving behavior. That's what I'm asking this, since I'm not there, I'm not witnessing it. And I would love for you to maybe pay closer look to that. It could be a sign of different things. And I don't want to diagnose, from a distance. Obviously, I don't know what it is. And I don't even know how he does it. So is it light? Is it heavy? Is he crying when he's doing it?
It seems heavy enough to cause a, noggin kind of thing. And then, he is definitely crying and having a meltdown. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do currently with the head banging? How do you address it, approach it? What is your, I'm not going to say go to, because it can vary day to day, moment to moment, depending what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're a busy mom. Yeah. So what have you done so far? What have you tried? Or what do you do when he does that?
So my approach is to attend to it and like to stop the actual bagging happening. Mm-hmm. I've moved to not quite receptive, but like I'm kind of moving from, having a reaction myself to having a calmer approach. So I've decided to drop whatever I'm doing. So if I'm in the middle of dinner or whatever, I will drop what I'm doing, and his safety is first for me, especially, the physical safety. And I will go to the other side of the gate as swiftly as I can. And, like I said, I am having a little reaction myself, and then stop it. Yeah.
Stop it.
Put my hand there. I mean, I usually try to get back to like whatever I'm doing, because I might be like in the middle of making dinner or something. I mean, ideally, I would love to sort of grab him and hug him and, work through those emotions. And there's been a few times when I've done that, and there's definitely been one particular episode when, his emotions just kind of melted away eventually. So, yeah.
So you answered your own question. Yeah. So, you described you're in the kitchen, there's a gate, he sees you, but he can't come in where you're at. He's entertaining himself. Maybe he gets frustrated with something. I don't know. With the toy. Is it with something that he's doing that he gets frustrated, or he wants to come into the area and connect with you?
I've been noticing, I've also blurred the lines a little, and I've been letting him come into the kitchen sometimes, or he's been really quick and just managing to creep in. I don't know whether, I've kind of been a bit lax about that. So he's thinking that's acceptable, but that's a very recent thing. But he could just be hungry or bored or yeah, I'm just thinking
So
what else.
so do you think it's a self-soothing behavior more, or frustration, expression of frustration?
Oh, I feel like it's frustration. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if
How
you
would
have
I?
tried, yeah,
I'm
and if you
sorry.
have tried, no, it's okay. And if you have tried picking him up in that moment and holding him and, being with him, and maybe even saying you're mad because you want to
Hmm.
go here, something of that nature,
Yeah.
right? And you've noticed the change, you said, right?
Yeah. Yeah. A few
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, that would be great if you could offer it more frequently to see if that disappears. Or is this self-soothing he just sort of learned? Or is it sensory craving? Do you see other experiences like that he does harder, bigger, like in a craving way in terms of sensory seeking behaviors? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I do. I think that is something I would like to investigate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say maybe even write it in your journal a little bit, take notes, what you observe for a week to gather information, right? You are an anthropologist, you are a mom, you are a scientist. You want to see what's leading to this behavior, how long does it take, what happens next, or if you respond in this way, does it help him? Do you see the behavior decrease throughout the day? How often does he do this during the day, would you say?
So he's not well right now, and I feel like it's increased.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to ask, so you said about it being self-soothing. What do you mean exactly about that? Like,
In terms of like, if self-soothing, I mean, we develop all sorts of, even as adults, right? Self-soothing mechanisms or things that they're sort of adaptations. They could be helpful or unhelpful. At the moment, it helps you. Like a child could like twirl their hair like this, or put it in their mouth, the hair, and chew the hair or lick the hair, or like twist the hair and pull one hair, like pull hair. There's different behaviors children exhibit. They play with their private parts, they rub on things, it depends. If it's a sensory seeking behavior, that could be all related to this. Or self-soothing, if I'm angry, I bang my head. What is he getting out of it? That's why it's important to observe and gather more information rather than try. But of course, comforting, co-regulating with him, helping him in that moment will be immensely helpful, especially if it's related to frustration, because you want to teach him how to be with frustration, instead of minimizing or saying, this is not a big deal, don't worry, oh, here is a cookie, here, let me kiss your boo boo and move on. Be with it a little bit, because it could be right. You can say, you're mad, say, mommy, I'm mad, or I'm
okay, I love
frustrated.
that.
You can teach him
Yeah.
words.
Yeah, I love that.
You have to empower your toddler. And toddlers learn so fast, and this is what we want, right? My neighbor's boy is 2 years old. He learns so fast. The other day we were outside. He says, "What's that?" I said, "That's a football. Do you want to kick? Do you want to kick?" And he says, "Kick football, kick." He just immediately picked up and started using it. So this is why I love this age. They're so absorbent for good and bad things, right? So you want to be very deliberate, but the emotional coaching, teaching about feelings, you co-regulating with him. But I want to ask you a question though, before you can co-regulate with him, right? Be with his feelings. of course, when you see your child like that, like what is the first thought that comes to your mind or the feeling that engulfs you in that moment? That's important too,
Well,
right?
yeah. Honestly, I recently felt, my heart drop when he was doing this, and, such sadness. Yeah. Yeah.
And you want to stop it because?
It's just, self-harm, really. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. You could. I mean, if you notice that it's around the dinner time behind the gate and you're here, what is so dangerous if he can't come into the why is there a gate in that kitchen area? I want to know this. Is it too dangerous for him to be there?
Well, he is in there sometimes. Well, the oven may be on around dinner time. He has been starting to reach some things on the kitchen counter. Sometimes I'm just not great about keeping the kitchen straight. So there may be, a sharp knife there or something. So those are the main things. And then there is a glass table in there as well. So, yeah. And I was thinking about having a little cupboard with, Tupperware that he could get to. I just haven't got around to it, at least a little corner.
Yeah, you could. You could make it safe for him just to come and go. Even if you remove the gate, he's not going to come and stay there all the time because it's so blocked and enticing.
Yeah.
He just wants to be there probably. But if you leave it open and he has the freedom to come and go a few times, he's not going to come and linger there because he explored what was there and it's done. And you can have, you can put his high chair. I mean, there's so many variety of things you can do. Not one thing, obviously, you can try different things. You can put his high chair and give him a snack. You can give him a toy in his high chair in that moment when you're cooking, or you can listen to music and children's music and sing together and make eye contact with him while you're cooking. So I don't know your kitchen design, but can he be part of it if he wants to in a safe way? I remember when my daughter was young, we lived in an apartment and the kitchen was not like big, but one of the walls I painted chalkboard paint, the entire wall. And while I was cooking and I was in the kitchen, she would come, draw something, scribble on the wall. I used that wall more than she. That was like my to-do list, my menu, like everything I would write on that wall. But I had that for her. Or my daughter was obviously toddler young ago. Now they have more elaborate toys. There were these magnetic alphabet toys on the refrigerator. She would come and play with that. Or I would even give her a knife. Not a sharp knife, obviously, but a plastic knife to cut a banana, to play in the kitchen with making mess and making dirt, or giving her some kind of a vegetable to wash, even to play with something. They want to be part of it. They see you're there and they want to connect and be part of it. And as much as you can allow in a safe way, I think it's amazing. It can do wonders.
I can see. I think this kind of behavior is more difficult for me. Like when my boys, get back to school. Get back from school. Or when the other boys are around. And I guess like in some ways I haven't given him as much freedom because I have less of a limit. Like I can see, some of these things may be happening with my first or second child. It's just, I guess I just need more of the safety gates with, him. But I'm definitely open to thinking about it. And I think like maybe as he approaches like 2.5, I was even thinking about the learning tower, sort of bringing him more in the kitchen. Yeah, recently he He's not wanting to get into the high chair at all because
it's restrained.
Yeah.
I think he is craving freedom, this boy.
So what we've done is we've also haven't followed the structure of him sitting down and having his milk. We've given him the bottle sometimes in the evening so he can finish his milk and have a full tummy when he goes to sleep. So I think he thinks that's acceptable to go around with his sippy cup and have his milk. So he just doesn't want to go in the high chair. So he actually has a booster at the glass table. And even that, he doesn't want the belt. So he does seem to prefer to go around and eat, which I really don't want to encourage. It's interesting because I haven't allowed that with the other two. And then I started to relax it a bit up with my second child. And now I guess it is good to just sit down and eat your meals rather than go around. But sometimes, with my second son, he sees me go around, so he thinks it's acceptable. So,
I think the high chair for a 2-year-old, the high chair is probably for this type of kid who is active, wants to explore, wants to climb the gate and come to where mommy is. I think because my neighbor's kid is active like that too. And they don't have a high chair. I didn't have a high chair. My daughter was very active too. So is there possibility to have a child-sized little chairs and a small table, like a table that you can also sit at? I visit my neighbor. They have a wooden small table. In fact, they got rid of their kitchen table and they have a wooden small table where adults can sit too, but the children can sit easily, pull the chair, push it back, sit, get up. I think the mobility is important for toddlers. And if you're restraining in many areas, then it's going to be frustrating because he wants to explore. He wants to run and climb and jump and do all of those good things. Whatever you can, I would give you a homework assignment. After this call, walk around your house and assess your house. How can you make it safe for him to explore without gates, without limitations?
So killing me, Anna.
Yes, you're panicking already. I can see. But it might be very helpful. Instead of caging them in, that creates more internal frustration. We need to open and so he can explore. And because he's curious, he wants to come and see what mommy is doing. You can say, mommy is cooking dinner. Pick him up and say, it's sizzling. Yum. And you taste, he tastes, and you put him on the ground. Then he runs away and he plays with something else. I think that's what I want to see. I think
I can imagine doing that with my first.
Why not with the
stretch? Because so I'm in the playroom right now. It's a hot mess, but anyway, I have a gate here. So this
gating what? Like I want to give me an what are you gating from what?
So it's basically so I can leave him here and go and brush my teeth. So yeah.
So the gate is at the door.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's understandable. And I'm sure you're on the second floor.
Yes.
So yes, I'm not suggesting remove that. So keep that one.
Let me tell you how many gates I have. So I have an open plan downstairs and the kitchen's open plan. So there's 2 gates there. There's one at the bottom of the steps, newly, one on the top. And then there's the gate and the playroom. And that's it. Playroom upstairs. Yeah.
The upstairs, I would say yes. The stairs and all that. That's understandable. But the kitchen, I would reevaluate.
Okay.
What is it that you are protecting him from? Even if the oven is hot, so what? He's not going to go into the oven. You're there.
I've had one that has gone into the oven and pulled the tray out.
Oh, you know what my daughter did when she was like, I don't remember, maybe 3 or something like that. I was preheating stuff is going to happen. I'm not
Yeah.
saying I'm not promoting
Mm-mm.
unsafe parenting
Yeah.
here. But, of course you want to be there, supervise, but stuff is going to happen in every family. My daughter pulled the bottom part of the oven that she could reach. It was a high oven. She couldn't reach the oven, but there was a bottom part to it. And she put the kitchen towel inside while it was preheating, and it burned. When I opened to see if it was hot enough, the flame just came at me. And we lived on a high-rise building, 20-story building. We lived on the 15th floor. The
Wow.
entire building fire system went on like crazy.
Anna.
And the fire department came with everything, with smoke. It was like a whole thing. Yeah. So, and I was right there. I was right there. So, but I mean, fear can't get in between this. Like, you can use common sense and safety. And, if something is in the oven, then you don't stay in the kitchen. Go with him, read a book or something. I mean, you need to be flexible. But for him to have access to the kitchen, he also needs to practice how to be safe in those environments. What's not, what's good, what's bad, what's safe, what's not safe. In small doses, you need to work on yourself and let him in a little bit. I think that's that. I think with toddlers, you want to focus on building their skills. There's a wonderful quote I love. It says, I forgot who says it. I posted recently on my Facebook page, and everybody understood it differently. But here is how I understand this quote. It says, "We look at life once in our childhood, the rest is memory." And it's true for toddlers, because he's exploring things. Everything for him is for the first time. Every taste, every flavor, every smell, everything that he touches, everything that he sees, this is for the first time. It's like an amazing experience. It's like if you go to a different planet and nothing looks like on Earth, what are you going to do? You're going to break things. You're going to open something and put something inside that doesn't belong there, because you don't know how the world works yet, right? So have that perspective and teach him what he can do. I think with toddlers, showing him, instead of saying, stop that, don't do that, I would relinquish that kind of language altogether. Negative language, I'm not a fan of negative language with toddlers. Use positive language. Instead of saying, don't go there, don't jump, tell him what he can do, right? Instead of don't go there, change that sentence. Stay here, sweetie, stay here. It's more positive and it's the same message, right?
So with the head banging, what sort of language would you suggest?
The head banging, I'm not sure why he's banging his head. You need to evaluate and you have to gather more information and share with me after this call so we can continue discussing this.
So I do kind of say, and yeah, I mean, I have used the negative language. It's just come reactively, naturally. So, I mean,
I would be neutral.
Yeah. So
when he bangs his head, I wouldn't say, ouch, that hurt, or I wouldn't say a thing. I would work on, I wouldn't say a thing. I wouldn't say a negative word or stop that, don't do that. I would relinquish.
Like come here or something. I don't know.
No, you go there. I would say you go there rather than him coming to you.
Well, I just mean towards me, because he's still on the floor,
Yeah, you just calmly pick him up.
Yeah.
Minimize language. I think in those kind of situations, negative language completely relinquish. Minimize language with your gestures, with your heart, with your facial expression, with your compassion. You need to lead in those moments. I think oftentimes we get stuck in words and, I need to validate, I need to blah, 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 blah. Like parents talk too much, if you ask me. A lot could be done without words and with just your presence, with your facial expression, with your compassionate look. And even a slight, oh, something like that, it goes along the way than just like a wordy, like diatribe, like not necessary. I would go gently pick him up and look at him and hug him and say, put my hand on his boo-boo, maybe kiss it, or just hold him and rock him. I don't know. I mean, it comes naturally to every mom, but you can comfort him. That's the thing. Like, I don't know what happened before. Was he trying to do something? If it's a frustration, then maybe you can teach him a little bit of language for his emotion by describing the thing. Oh, you're trying to open the gate and it's not opening, or something like that. And in your voice, you can also show it's frustrating, right? It's frustrating. So you show a little bit that part. That's what I would do. I need more information about this so we can talk about that. But I think the teaching part, if he's throwing some heavy object, I think most of the time those kind of behaviors get reinforced based on our own reactions. It depends how we react. If we're like, oh, what did you do? And we jump and we go, he's like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a nice button I pressed right there.
Yeah, that was happening, definitely. Yeah. And now it's the hitting, and I am like, wow, you just hit your brother around the head. And it's just like, wow. And they learned this thing like from the big boys, sorry.
Yeah.
My youngest learned it from the big boys. It's actually something they do on the elementary school playground. So
oh gosh,
he's learning it already.
You have 3 boys. God bless you. The energy and the rough play in your house in a few years, it's going to be amazing level.
Yeah.
I'm not cut out for that, for sure.
Yeah.
So the hitting is not as hard. Like hitting, what can you, with toddlers, I think you need to give them what they can do. Or you need to show how to do a particular thing that they're doing, quote unquote, in a wrong or bad, or because they're not coordinated, right? He's trying to grab something and it falls or pulls or breaks because hand-eye coordination, gross motor skills, fine motor skills, then it's not all very well developed. So we can't get angry at those behaviors. First of all, your reactions should be neutral, not negative. And you don't want to jump or, have a reactive kind of response when he's doing even hurtful things or hitting or something like that, because then he's like, wow, that was interesting. I did that and it happened. Let me try again. So you're creating that pathway for him because he's learning everything very rapidly. So with the hitting, with pulling the hair roughly, with those kind of behaviors, if he's, let's say, grabbing your eyeglasses and doing something with it, that you need to show him what to do instead or how to do it gently. That's the key with toddlers. This is why I love this age, because you're teaching them everything. How to hold the thing, how to open a bottle, and another thing is you don't want to jump in and help them too much. If they're like my neighbor's toddler today was struggling to put her feet. She can't even stand up yet. She's like 1.5, fully, she's a chubby baby. She was trying to put her feet into her brother's Crocs and she was struggling. It was so cute to watch. Like she struggled. And finally she figured out a way. She sat on the ground and figured out how to put her feet into the Crocs, bigger size Crocs. So with toddlers, you want to have patience and watch them and allow them to explore and master skills. But along the way, they're going to have frustrations, but you don't want to react to those frustrations with big emotions, take the thing away, hinder their process. That's going to anger them more. So you want to be a supportive teacher and guide and let them be free and observe in a safe space. And they learn and master rapidly every skill. If he's hitting his brother,
it's so random. It's so random. Like, Yeah. But like I said, this week it has been more. And I think that's because he's had this creepy cough.
Yeah.
But it's so random. Sometimes it might be like not getting the attention because the three boys are on the couch and then maybe they're watching some TV and I mean the two boys and then he just happens to join in and maybe he's not getting the attention. That just came to mind and it's just like whack across the head. Yeah. And it's just like, wow, it's like hard. He's strong. And it's like, did he do that?
Well, you can coach your boys actually to work with him, because you're not always going to be there to go and guide and teach. Your boys are old enough; they can say, "Hanu," hold his hand, and say.
They've been taking it. And I'm like, well, and my middle son does like sort of give back, definitely, but my eldest has been taking it, and I was like, you need to say. Probably it's not the right word, but you need to say no. Just say this is not acceptable or something. But I mean, what I need to be saying is, more gentler approach, like, "Hello, that's not okay."
No, show him what he can do. How can instead of hitting, what does he want to do? Is he want to join them? Is he want their attention? Yeah. You can say, you can go and practice together. I mean, he's not going to master it right away, but you can say, "Oh, Hanu, you want to play with, your brother? Say play, instead of the heating. Like, can you replace that behavior right in the moment with something more desirable? Because if you say this is not acceptable, he's like, what is this word? Not acceptable. He doesn't know the meaning of that. And you're going to get frustrated because you already told him that is not acceptable. And how dare he still do it? And so it's like we're putting ourselves in a trap. Whatever you can teach him how to do, show it to him, the pulling of the hair, the heating. Can you replace it with a word? Can he say, more? People always teach them more, please, such and such. Everything is a skill. Everything is a skill. He's trying to communicate. And that's the best way that he knows how to communicate. How can you replace that undesirable way of communicating with something that is more desirable for you or acceptable? Yeah, right. Whatever is acceptable for you. And you're not going to do this for the rest of your life. It's only like in the thick of this toddler year.
Yeah.
I think when you come from this mindset and you can instruct your boys to teach him the skills, how to do certain things. Like the way I taught my 4-year-old neighbor when her brother, the 2-year-old boy, was pulling her hair and she was like, "Ouch, stop that. That hurts," right? The boy laughs and goes and does it again because it's fun. Yeah. And I said, I can teach you a secret. She learned. I said, you can say gentle like this and show him how to pet your hair. And she showed it to him and he loved it. And he started repeating it like right on the spot.
I was doing that for a little while. I just didn't keep with it. I didn't think he thought it was fun enough. So gotta put my thinking cap on.
Yeah, if you give him more freedom in areas where he can jump and throw and climb and be free and it doesn't feel restricted, he won't have this bottled up desire, right? And then you can guide him in those moments and teach him, show him what he can do, the alternative, also with language, instead of don't hit that, don't jump that, don't do that, stop that. What can he do? Use that language, or stop throwing your food. Keep the food on the plate. It's the same amount of words, but a different tone, different energy. And it's more like an invitation as opposed to like, don't throw food. They hear throw food. Just throw.
I think he when he throws his food, then he goes, okay. And I think he's asking me if I'm okay because I think he knows I'm a little annoyed.
Oh, Well, you can also teach him how to pick up things. I mean, this is why I love this age. If he threw the food, let's pick up the food. Oh, look, it's all over the floor. Let's put them all in the plate, all in the box, and they learn fast. I mean, that's the beauty of it. If you teach them whatever you teach them, they're going to learn very fast.
Yeah, I'm surprised he tries to like clean around the house because I don't clean that much. But when he does spill his milk, I give him some, tissue and he's like wiping it sometimes. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm like, here you go.
And you encourage him. I think also with the older boys too, I think with just everyone, I think encouraging and complimenting instead of saying good job, there's some empty good job. You can say, wow, look at you, you're doing it so thoroughly. Even if he's a toddler, you need to speak with him in this manner. It's important. Yesterday was my birthday. My 4-year-old neighbor drew a picture for me and she gave it to me. And I said, I go to her level. I mean, I'm always like that with kids. I don't do it like, on purpose, but it's like my natural way. I go to her level. I'm like, thank you. Can I give you a hug? It's very thoughtful. Tell me about this picture. Who is this? And she told me a story about the picture. You connect and you say, wow, you chose many colors and you have very many details. I said, look at the hair. And I complimented her. So she can understand that she can withdraw conclusions about herself, about her art, about her behavior. This has to be our like default lens instead of good job. Oh, thank you for the picture. And that's it. It's like, it's not filling, right? So if you give a little more, also with your toddler, if he's cleaning, because you're encouraging this kind of behavior, right? Then he can love cleaning. Then he sees in your own words, in your own toddlerese, So
I
I
think
think,
that's something that I
yeah.
could work on. I don't know what the internal shift I need to get there. Yeah.
And with the older boys too, if they're nicely taking care of the little one, instead of saying, good job, boys, good job, you took care of your brother. No, you can say something meaningful, something extra. Yes, it's you want to go outside and play with your friends, but you took care of your brother, you changed his clothes, you were so attentive to him, and blah blah blah. Like really make a big deal about that. And be more positive as opposed to the negative language that we bring into our households. And stop that, don't do that, don't throw that, don't jump.
Yeah, it
Don't.
comes so naturally. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know it is comes naturally, but we are pattern breakers, right? We are.
Yes.
That's the beauty
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
parenting work. So in terms of the tantrums, you've attended the why of challenging behaviors and the how to of dealing with them. None of those behaviors are, misbehaviors. You know where I stand about those things. There's always some kind of reason why they do this. They get dysregulated or sensory seeking, or right, something is happening clearly, or they have an unmet need, or they don't have the right skills or stuff like that. So we don't want to treat the behavior in isolation as a behavior problem, because it's going to perpetuate the undesirable behavior again and again, and it will repeat itself. But you address the root cause, what's happening. If he's frustrated, can you be with him and prevent even the frustration? If you know what makes him frustrated, can you be there when he gets frustrated and sort of get in the way of the head banging? Like one step before he bangs his head, he already gets in the frustration mode, right? So can you observe what's going on and catch it before he loses it completely and he starts like doing this behavior? But even if he does, can you stay with him, hold him, and help him with this frustration?
I think that's very relevant, for his age. I'm just wondering, yeah, I think that's very relevant for his age, and even maybe for my middle son. And, there are frustrations in life. So maybe for an older child, you'd like allow that feeling a little bit more. Am I right in saying that?
With younger kids too, right? They slowly you need to increase the window of tolerance. In the beginning, of course, he doesn't have tolerance. With a few seconds, even if you increase that tolerance, right? If he's crying over the milk, like you're getting him the milk, but he's having a meltdown, right? Instead of like rushing and getting the milk to him, can you work with the frustration a little bit? Pick him up, go to his level, and say, yeah, you want the milk right now, right now. Or this is frustrating, or something like that. And
so by then he's lost it. So if he gets to a certain point, he won't have it, and he's just lost it. It's like he's going to throw it. So
it's fast, right?
Yeah.
So for him, it's very fast. Then I think the co-regulation needs to happen as frequently as you can. Comfort him, soothe him in the moment, regulate him in that moment, so that you will, that's also a skill. And then you can work on a frustration tolerance in a different way. When he's waiting for something, you can prolong just for a few seconds, not when he's losing it in those moments, but like in more ordinary situations.
So he has that with going outside, because we don't have a fenced in yard. So, he's like, shoes. And, I try to get outside, and sometimes I just have to get to other things before we go outside. So,
and you can
could get
make him,
so he does wait.
He does wait, and you can say, you're waiting, it also make a big deal out of the waiting. You're waiting until mommy does this and such, and we're going outside, and tell the story of that to the kid. I think
I think
old enough now to hear the story of going out, that Mommy and Hanu were going outside, and Hanu said, shoes, 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 shoes. He wanted to go fast. He wanted to run outside. But Mommy wanted to do the laundry, and Hanu waited and waited and waited for Mommy, right? And then Mommy came and said, let's go outside now. And that you create the story for him. That's important too. To retell this story.
I think I'm honestly, the place that I'm in is I'm unable to articulate that, because I'm dealing with my own little fire. So it's good to have this conversation. Yeah.
I mean, having 3 kids in the pandemic, it's a lot of work. And I know you are busy with your own projects and things like that. Getting help is important. I have told you many times, if you can hire help, hire help. It's important, even for your toddler, another person to play with, explore, another attachment figure, not someone that you change frequently, but a consistent figure who comes. Like I am that figure for my neighbor's kids, and they adore me and I adore them. And it's like, I'm like family for those kids. It's so valuable. When they don't see me for a few days and they see me outside, they just ran and they give me such big hugs, those 2 kids. It's just wonderful to have consistent, added relational figures in your children's lives, especially when you are parenting, alone, cut off from relatives and extended family. Can you, cultivate such person, either a neighbor or a hired help or something like that? For that would be my suggestion too. Don't kill yourself.
Yeah, I mean, we had a wonderful girl. She had to round up, so I'm working on finding someone else. And I'm wanting someone consistent. It's not always easy to find that, and hopefully it will line up.
Yeah. So do you think that we talked about all of the challenges and you're walking away with some insights, some tips, some ideas, and let everything percolate in your mind? You're a smart woman. You don't have to do everything that I say, but my ideas may spark some other ideas in you. And that's the beauty of coaching or working with someone. You don't have to take what I say as just melted butter. And but I trust that you will come up with your own ideas and see things a little differently with fresh eyes. And
Yeah, I think we've definitely spoken about, the challenges. Can you say something about consistency? Because I think I don't like consistency, and like I don't know how helpful that is, especially in these young years. Yeah. And obviously I feel like I'm not sure, like it's just hard to be like, I guess I don't like to be tied down by it. I just like the leeway, especially with having three, like what kind of consistency can I bring into his life that would be helpful and grounding to him, maybe. Yeah.
The consistency is important. I think when you're raising kids, consistency gives that sense of security, safety, predictability. If things are chaotic, I've talked about this in my other classes and things like that. You know that it creates disorganization and chaos in the mind, in the psyche, in the emotions. And the consistency comes from the environment, right? From the routines, bedtime routines, mealtime routines, but also the consistency of the parental regulation, the parental emotion is huge. How you react. Are you consistent in how you respond to frustration, to his things? You can be consistently, you can express your anger consistently too. I'm not saying don't be angry, don't have negative emotions. No, but your emotional palette has to be consistent. So if my mom is angry, she always gets angry this way. If my mom is sad, she always is sad in this way. But if you are very like roller coaster up and down volatile, like my mom, sometimes we drove for days, but sometimes she's like yelling and screaming when she's angry. There are people like that, right? So if it's emotionally too volatile and turbulent, that's gonna, excuse my language, screw up your kids big time. Consistency in that is huge. You may have and consistency is not rigidity, right? You may not like consistency, and we can explore this outside of this conversation. I want to know why you don't like consistency, because consistency is good. And maybe you don't like the word, but do you resonate with the word rhythm, routine?
Yeah, I can get into rhythm. I can get into like, waves, like on the beach or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, waves.
That speaks to me.
Waves are a little bit. Waves are a little bit too unpredictable. They could be big tides and like no waves and slow waves. I think children need that. They thrive on that. They know what to expect. What's the emotional climate going to be? I was just speaking with another mom the other day, and she said, "Wow, I remember when we were kids, we didn't want to come home. Why? Because we didn't know what to expect from our mom's reactions." So you know what I mean? That's not consistency. So children need that consistency, that gives them that sense of security that we talk about, the secure attachment, the secure this, the secure that. That's the main thing. And the consistency in routines also. You don't have to do crazy things with your kids. You don't have to go to Six Flags, then the next day to go to the library, then the next day. Like, you don't have to give them like different, like crazy experiences. At this age, they need low key, simple, consistent, nice, idyllic life. They need it may sound boring to you, but they thrive on that. If they do chalk every day, if they do garden hose every day, and then they do a little reading and they do little snack time, that's their life. It doesn't have to be like this I don't know, disco lights, whatever crazy, roller coaster amusement park. You don't want to create that kind of experience for children because they also, the consistency and the simple stuff is good. They thrive on that. The volatile amusement park, they don't even have time to adjust to that. Before they adjust to something, it's a whole nother story, it's another mood, it's another reaction. So they become disorganized internally. I highly recommend being consistent in these areas. The snacks, the meals, what we
Yeah,
do during the day, where we
I
go.
do the routine, definitely. I think I need to look at what I'm bringing otherwise. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what I see many people struggle with is the parental emotion, mood regulation, consistency. You can have an immaculate home, you can have, a lot of people do that, but that's great, that's good too. But that could be too rigid. And but if your emotions are too volatile and turbulent, and that is not good. If you have no bedtime, if one day bedtime is at 10 p.m., one day 7 p.m., on holidays we don't even have a bedtime, it's like that's not good. You need consistency. And I'm not saying be rigid like a 8 p.m., 8:01. That's not the type of consistency I mean, more of rhythm, more
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I
yeah.
can work with rhythm. Yeah.
Yeah, rhythm you
Yeah.
can, and children know what to expect. And telling stories like this at the end of the day, just wrapping up your day when you put him to bed, instead of reading a book, or in addition to reading a small picture book, you can also tell a story of your day. Children love stories, humans love stories, and it's your voice, it's your connection. It's a fantastic opportunity to just wrap up the day with the summary of the day in a nice story. It's also comforting, and that's consistent.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would say. So what are your takeaways? Did I overwhelm you?
No, I'm good. I'll like listen to it again. I did end up taking like notes. Yeah, there's a lot of scribbles here in my book. Like it was helpful to talk over, those challenging behaviors and then see some of the things that I can do, to add. I love the stories idea, and I would like to continue the conversation a little bit about, what I'm bringing emotionally. Like I do have the structure to the day. Yeah. I mean, I do that. I do give them, their meals at the same time,
Yeah.
and, the nap time. Yeah. So
And
that's
so
happening naturally anyway.
So as,
Yeah.
as as we usually end, I want you to mention 5 things that you do for your children that you think makes you a great mom. Give yourself credit, mention 5 things, thoughtful things, not like I make dinner for them. Just thoughtful things that you're proud of, that you keep doing for them or you've done for them.
Yeah. I mean, that is a little bit hard, and I will try to step into it. I feel like to some degree, I mean, I'm looking at the Dan Siegel's podcast, and I do question my presence, and I know that I'm really trying to have that felt sense with them. Like that's definitely something that I bring and is very strong, and that's my strength. Like as a team, my husband and I, that's something that I bring, and having honest conversations with them as well. I started doing that with my 7 and 10-year-old. So, I'm not perfect. Sometimes they do give me what for and just remind me. But, that kind of open relationship, yeah. And I have to commend myself that I do, practice forgiveness as well. And yeah, I try to really embrace that, because I did experience something different, growing up myself. Okay. I'm finding it a little hard now because you put me on the spot. And just that, I get up every day and I'm trying to do this, hard thing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And more recently, I've been trying to find myself as well, because I see that I've been very immersed in it and it's become my only identity. But I'm sort of stepping back away and being okay, I'm gonna look at myself, and self is my word for the year. And I think that's definitely, of course, beneficial. Yeah, I'm not just mom. Yeah.
No, you're not. You're a beautiful, beautiful woman that I know, a good friend to me and to our community members, and a good support and a compassionate person. You're always available for others. That you are your heart, you open your heart and your mind and your ears for others to pour their struggles and share their challenges with you too.
Yeah.
So thank you for today. Thank you for being part of the community. It's been truly an amazing journey, the 6 years, and having known you and other amazing members of this community. So thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much for everything you're doing.